Hello and welcome to this edition of the Golf Channel podcast with Rex and Lav. Folks, we got a fun one today. This week's episode, we're talking another Tiger Woods surgery. That's not necessarily fun. LIV players on the U.S. Ryder Cup team. And most importantly, with the NFL draft approaching, we're going to draft not just our top picks for 2023 or 2024. We are going for the next 5 years, essentially a rookie contract in the NFL, and also the top 5 prospects, guys who are still amateurs who would want to buy stock in right now and draft them if it was beginning today. I can't wait to see who Rex, who is very much not a college and amateur expert, who he's going to put on his fantasy team for the next 5 years. Rex, we also have some personal things to get into. My crawfish boil, your trip to the ER. We'll get into all that, as well as our doubleheader that's coming up next week at LACC and Pebble Beach, which I'm now dreading because I can't play worth a lick. But let's first get into Tiger. Had another ankle surgery last week that's fusing some areas together around his right ankle, which of course was the one that was mangled in the car accident in February 2021. This surgery, according to medical experts, is going to mean less mobility, but hopefully also less pain. It almost certainly means that his major season is over. He does not have a timeline for his recovery. Does this also spell doom for his career?
I don't think it spells doom. I think you missed an opportunity, though, with the draft that we talked about. Isn't it Rex and Lav mock draft 1.0? Aren't we going to go with that?
Yeah, 1.0. We have not been workshopping this over the past couple of months. We've not been making money. We haven't been hiding this behind a paywall, hoping you to get excited for potential trades.
You know what? I brought this up to a friend of mine who's a very well-known orthopedic surgeon up in Georgia, and I kind of just asked him point blank, like, what does this mean for Tiger? The right ankle, as you pointed out, it's not the lead ankle. There's some things that go into that as far as the motions of the swing, and he did a really good job of sort of breaking down exactly what they did. He can move his ankle sort of toe up, toe down. Like this way, he is still functional. The hard way, you like that? This way is still functional. The way, what he can't do is turn it from right to left, or he kind of explained it as pronate his ankle. And the example that he gave me, and this was a great example, he sent me a picture of Jordan Spieth when Jordan swings. And if you watch at the end of his swing, his ankles are all over the place. It looks like he's almost on skates. And they're like,
he bends into it, doesn't he?
Yeah. And Scotty Scheffler's kind of the same way. We sort of talked about that Scheffler shuffle before. He won't be able to do that, which makes it difficult. And it's the recovery period, as you pointed out, is probably in the short term the bigger issue. You're right. I think it's major season. His season is over pretty much, because I can't imagine how he's going to be able to come back from it. It is a pretty significant surgery. The bigger question that you asked, and I did ask him point blank, does this mean the end of his career? Because we keep bouncing this around every time he goes back under the knife, that we're going to sit there and wonder if we've seen him play for the last time. He didn't think so. He said of all the things he's been through over the last few years, that this is significant. It's surgery. Anytime that you have to go through something like this, the doctors are always concerned on many levels. However, this one, he said, and knowing Tiger the way we know Tiger, he can work his way through it. He can swing around it, specifically cut because it's his right ankle. Had it been his left ankle, his lead ankle, that would have been much different. So I don't think this is the end of his career, but it's certainly the end of 2023.
Left ankle, you're right. That would have been career ending. I think everyone agrees, had that been the case. Now, he probably wouldn't have even attempted to come back had he initially injured his left ankle in that car accident. I highly encourage everyone to check out Bill Mallon, former PGA Tour player, now current medical expert on Twitter, had some great thoughts. He said that the recovery for this, it's been anywhere online 3 to 6 months, right? Like you can start getting out of the cast, putting some weight on it, and which would obviously put him outside the major window for 2023. But what Bill Mallon said, Tiger Woods should expect a full recovery in about a year. And so next year's Masters, that's kind of a realistic timetable. Will we see him at the PNC Championship? Probably.
Like driving around in a golf cart.
Yeah, it should be less of a stress. I also don't believe that this is career ending. It does seem, Rex, that unlike other surgeries, this is more about quality of life for Tiger and less about what it means for his golf career. Like if anyone saw him on Saturday at Augusta National, like that was absolutely miserable to see him hobble around, basically like dragging his right leg. Like no one wants to see him play golf like that. I can't imagine that was an incredibly fun experience for Tiger Woods to withdraw from the Masters when he was well on his way to his highest score ever at Augusta National. He initially cited it as the recurrence of plantar fasciitis. Obviously, this was more significant than that. Hopefully, this does mean less pain, less discomfort, because that has been the one thing with this recovery, Rex. He's played 5 official events since coming back at last year's Masters. He has worn down on the weekend each and every time when kind of the toll of walking 72 holes has caught up with him. So hopefully this does mean that for the future. But I'm with you. He was not going to play the PGA Championship anyway because of a variety of reasons. LACC was going to be a very difficult walk. Would have loved to see him at Hoylake because of his past experience there. But unfortunately, it does seem like a little bit too much too soon.
Well, and you brought up the idea. No one, certainly I don't want to see him play like that. We want to see Tiger Woods something close to what
he's still making the cut, which is like amazing. It's amazing.
It's still making the cut. You look at what he did last year at the Masters, when I don't think many people outside of his inner circle thought that he had a chance of making it 72 holes around that golf course. But I'll take it a step further. And it's interesting because this doesn't happen in other sports. You see athletes break down in other sports. You see athletes start to struggle. I mean, they can't do, certainly you look at Michael Jordan later in his career, he famously, developed a jump shot because he wasn't as athletic. He wasn't stronger, bigger, faster like he was earlier in his career, but he wasn't limping around like this. I think it's more, forget about how he was playing golf. You look at some of the video of what we saw at Augusta. I mean, it was shocking to see how difficult it was for him to get around that golf course. And we don't get that from other athletes in their primes, because I mean, if you're in the NFL, if you're a lineman, if your ankle is that jacked up, you're not going to try to play. Like, that's just, you're going to be on the sideline. You're going to be watching. Same thing with every other sport. In this particular sport, it allows that pathway, it allows that avenue, which I think is almost a disadvantage for someone like Tiger Woods, who is so uniquely driven, who has this idea that I can overcome anything. Like, please tell me no, because I know I can prove you wrong. And to a large degree, this is what's driving him. He talked about it earlier this month at Augusta about why are you able to do this? And he goes, because I'm stubborn. He doesn't want to hear no. And so this is something that's so unique to golf, so unique to Tiger Woods, because look, Aaron Rodgers, he's probably going to end up limping around a lot for the New York Jets, if I had to guess. However, it's not going to be like that.
As long as he plays 65% of the snaps, he's good.
And that's such an interesting deal. He's not going to be limping around or moving that gingerly, because someone's going to drag him off the field before that happens. No one can really drag Tiger off the field.
Last I checked, Phil Mickelson, 52 years old, just tied for second at the Masters. Now, like on the opposite ends of the spectrum physically, Phil, long swing, long career, has maintained his fitness at an incredible level, won a major championship just 2 years ago. Tiger Woods has been under the knife. Boy, this has got to be somewhere between like 15 and 20 now, combined, at least the ones that we actually know about when you consider his back, his knee, and now his lower right leg. So hopefully a speedy recovery. Hopefully we can get him back to the PNC Championship to end the year. I see the sausage finger. Well, go ahead.
No. What's going on behind you? That's where we got a whole new look. You don't have the awards. You don't have the dogs barking. What's happening? Where are we?
I mean, I could drag the Emmy out here. I could drag the Redding Awards out here. Would that be?
Humble brag.
No, it's 73 degrees. If there's any sponsors who want to appear on this video, and also it's almost time for the draft, which means there it is.
You didn't want to do that inside. That's going to upset the wife.
We'll be playing that ad nauseum. The draft is coming up, as you can see on this banner that I was very clever in adding to our StreamYard feed here. Rex, one other newsy thing, the Zurich Classic. If we really want to talk about that, you can go to golfchannel.com and see your column up on that right now. But Zach Johnson did make some news in the pre-tournament press conference when he said that no decisions have been made regarding the eligibility for the U.S. Ryder Cup players, and in terms of can LIV players play their way onto that team. So even those players, now the PGA of America had to follow up on that, even those players like Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, Patrick Reed, all former U.S. Ryder Cuppers, even if they've departed for LIV, they do maintain affiliate PGA of America membership through summer 2024, which means they can remain eligible to qualify and or be picked for the team. Incredibly unlikely. I think Brooks Koepka at number 17 is the highest ranked LIV player right now in the point standings, outside of winning a major and another high finish. So I guess if Brooks, wins the PGA, U.S. Open or Open Championship, like you'd think, in addition to his tie for second at the Masters, he may be able to crack that top six. so they almost certainly won't qualify. But do you think that they could actually be picked? Would Zach Johnson reach across the aisle and say, DJ, Brooks, we need you in Italy? You think that could happen?
Qualifying is one thing. Like, that's a whole different conversation. And they could certainly look at what happened at Augusta. 3 of the top 6 players at the Masters were LIV players. So they're certainly playing. We're going to have this conversation later. We've already talked about it before. The idea that these aren't still top players is sort of ridiculous just because they're now playing under a new flag. It's not unprecedented. You brought up the idea that maybe Brooks or DJ wins a major championship. It's not unprecedented for a major champion not to make a team. John Daly didn't make 2 teams as a 2-time major champion. So this has happened.
We're talking John Daly, or we're talking a guy who just defected for LIV.
But got it. But again, it's not that different when you look at the context of these players only have 3 more opportunities. The Masters is over, so they're only going to really get 3 more opportunities to prove themselves. So you could argue that John Daly really only had 2 opportunities to prove himself. So to go to it, yes, they could qualify. And it is interesting to see that there is still a pathway back for them. I can't imagine in any scenario where either captain, and that's Luke Donald or Zach Johnson, would make a LIV player a pick simply because of the politics involved. And look, it's the PGA of America. This is not the PGA Tour, but this goes back to the ecosystem. And I do not see, Zach Johnson and Luke Donald have since the very beginning.
There's
set all the right things because they have to. They don't want to get involved in lawsuits. They don't want to get involved in having to give depositions. Like, they want to avoid this at all costs. And so what they're going to do is say all the right things in public. We're just going to have to wait and see. And that's kind of out of my hands right now. But when the time comes to make a pick, and let's throw for instance out there, that Brooks Koepka is somehow played his way into the top 10. He's not automatically qualified, but he's 8th on that points list. Is he going to be a pick over, I don't know, someone who remained loyal to the PGA Tour? I don't see that happening. Now, the European conversation is a little bit different because of some recent rulings.
I'm not so sure, Rex. Like, I don't. So
What?
Bryson's a no. Patrick Reed's a no. Like, I think even if they're like 7th in the point standings, like it's hard to imagine.
Contest now. You can't do that. Like,
it is.
Stop.
It is a popularity contest. You just talked about how these guys remain loyal to the PGA Tour. That's basically, you're making it political.
No, I said popularity. I didn't say political contest. I said a popularity contest.
It's the same thing. It's still playing politics. It's still playing politics with the room. Like, do you want the best player on the team, or do you want the player who's going to mesh the best in the team room? That's why, like, I think DJ and Brooks are the only possibilities for this, not just because of their style of play, but I think how well that they've bonded with those players over the past decade or so. So here's a hypothetical, and I think now with Will Zalatoris out for the year because of the microdiscectomy, I think it does open up an opportunity here. So you're telling me if we get to August, because that's when the picks are going to be made following the BMW Championship. If you get down to a Kurt Kitayama, who is currently 11th in U.S. point standings, Chris Kirk, who is 12th, or Sahith Theegala, you needed to pick 2 of those 3 guys, or you can have a Dustin Johnson or Brooks Koepka. Which one are you going to take? A guy who doesn't have any experience in that arena and could be overwhelmed as the Americans try to win for the first time in 3 decades on European soil? Or are you going to go back to the well with Dustin Johnson, who, yes, he was 5-0 at Whistling Straits in the most recent Ryder Cup. He's maintained friendships with a lot of those guys. He has not bad-mouthed, just as Brooks Koepka has not. He has not bad-mouthed any player who has remained loyal to the PGA Tour. I can certainly see it. I think it's unlikely, but dismissing the possibility that a Brooks or DJ could be on that team, I think is reckless.
Now, you asked me what I would do. And yes, I'm bringing DJ into that team because we have talked about this, and we saw it at Augusta National where he was welcomed back. People missed DJ. They like DJ. They still hang around DJ in South Florida. They go to the same restaurants. They go to the same gym to work out. So yes, in that scenario, I can imagine where the guys are like, hey, we like Kurt Kitayama a lot, but we really like DJ. So yeah, in my mind,
DJ is a proven commodity, right? Like, DJ and Brooks are proven commodities. You know exactly what you're going to get.
He is. The problem with that is he didn't particularly play well at the Masters, right? And so again, this goes to what we talked about going in.
Oh, he's like 30. He's like 30th in points. Like, it would be.
Yeah. So now it's not even. So now it's not even close. So you can't even make that argument. Brooks is a different animal.
He's got to play better.
Yeah. So unless DJ plays really, really well in the next 3 majors and somehow finds a way to do that. But you're right. Yes, he hasn't done any of the wrong things. People like him. He has a track record that would make him an easy pick. But you can't really point to Brooks that way. As you pointed out, you can't look at Patrick Reed the same way, or Bryson DeChambeau, or I'll keep going down the list. Like there simply isn't that runway for those players. And the reason I say it's going to be easier for the Europeans is because the European Tour has opened that door because of the ruling that happened earlier this month in Sports Resolution UK. And because of the way Keith Pelley, the CEO of the DP World Tour, reacted to it, I think they are considering an a la carte option where I think they're opening the door to the idea that, okay, you can play. Yes, exactly. You can play the LIV Tour. However, you're going to have to do this to maintain your status on our tour. I'm not saying there's going to be any LIV players that are going to have any interest in that, but if you put the carrot that is the Ryder Cup on the end of it, I think there is the possibility for that. There is zero possibility for that happening on the U.S. side.
To quote Keith Pelley, it would be, quote, incredibly difficult for any of those LIV defectors to qualify on Luke Donald's team, just like the U.S. team. It's going to have 6 automatic qualifiers, 6 wild card selections. I'm not even sure who would be a possibility. Like, there's been so many burned bridges over the past year. When you think of Lee Westwood, who just turned 50, by the way, happy belated. I know he's your boy. Ian Poulter, Sergio Garcia. I mean, they have badmouthed not just the Roy McIlroys of the world who have fiercely defended.
I mean, John Rahm's going to come to bat for Sergio Garcia. John Rahm's going to step in for Sergio Garcia, whether or not if his voice has any sway. But like, he wants to still play with Sergio Garcia. That's clear.
But bringing in a polarizing figure, a player who has been caustic in his comments, not just about the players, but about the European leadership as well, I think would be a monumental risk for a team that's already going to be heading into these matches, presumably as the underdog. I don't think it's going to be an enormous underdog like we maybe thought a year or two ago, but I do think they'll be slight underdogs nonetheless, as they typically are.
Well, and you and I had fun at the Masters because in our little tiny studio area, there's not a lot of room there. So I don't know how to explain it. It was more like a closet than a studio. However, so Paul McKinley would come in during these conversations, and you and I both were able to sort of listen to his thoughts. And if you listen to what Paul said, I think they're excited about the idea of a younger, new team. I mean, you can go down the list of these young players.
Adrian Moronk, Thomas Dietrich. I mean, there's
the Hogarths. Yeah.
There's a lot of guys under 27 years old who can inject some life.
So I don't think that they want to press the panic button quite yet, because you also have the stars. You have Rory, who's playing great. You have John Rahm, who's playing great. There is still this solid core, and you can bring in this new
Fitz, Hatton,
this new generation,
Fleetwood, Lowry.
And so
it's good.
I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. I just think it's only open on the European side more so than the U.S. side because of the ruling and because of the way Pelley and the rest of the tour responded to it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it did create an avenue.
I just don't even know who they could conceivably pick. Like maybe a Paul Casey. Like if Paul Casey goes gangbusters on the LIV circuit this spring and this summer, like he hasn't burned any bridges. It just like Sergio, Westwood, Poulter. Like,
well, these guys are going to be allowed to play in DP World Tour events, so that's why this is different. So if they come up with some sort of scenario where they can share, and look, when you talk to people on the European side, the idea is, okay, we'll give you this out. You can still play the LIV Golf Tour. We'll give you your releases, but in exchange, you have to play X amount of events. You have to play the Irish Open and pick 5 or 6 or 7 other DP World Tour events. That's the door that's open. And I can imagine a scenario where you have a Paul Casey that finds that attractive and finds the idea that, oh, I actually could play my way onto the team. Like, forget about being a pick. I could qualify. I think that's very attractive.
Do you think that there should be some sort of handshake agreement between the two captains of like either we're both going to have a LIV player or none of us, or does it not matter? Like the actual winning of the Ryder Cup is so important that if DJ gives me the best chance to win, we're taking him regardless of what you do on the European side.
Man, I can't see that. No way. Not legally. After combing through
handshake agreement, I didn't say written agreement.
No, man. No, even those are getting flushed out. I don't think you want anything that even remotely looks like collusion in this particular. I mean, this is all about what LIV Golf and to a lesser extent, the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia is calling that sort of collusion, that sort of antitrust behavior. No way. I don't see that happening.
It's going to be a very interesting decision. I think, in particular, I think Luke Donald. I think it's set, and they're moving on from kind of the old guard on the European Ryder Cup team. I think,
and they're fine with
I
that.
think, yeah, which I totally agree with. I think Zach Johnson has a prudential predicament on his hands. Like, he's going to have to choose between a Kurt Kitayama, Harris English, a Tony Finau, who hasn't been playing great, maybe Ricky, like Keith Mitchell, these types of guys, or do you go back to the well with DJ, who literally was 5-0 in the last Ryder Cup, Brooks Koepka, who just had the 54-hole
But
lead
again, you're
at the
basing
Masters.
this on the idea that DJ is going to play well.
Yeah,
and put himself in the conversation. I don't think that's a fair assumption right now.
Given his 15-year career, I think chances are he's going to figure it out. I think the back injury that he suffered earlier this year in Saudi Arabia that knocked him out of that event, I do think that's lingering a little bit longer than he would have liked. Clearly, he did not put in the reps during the offseason, which was longer than he's ever had during his PGA Tour career. He's just out of sorts. But I am assuming that he is eventually going to find his form as we get into the heart of the season. Yes.
Well, and let's go one further. Like, only one of their guys finished tied for second. So let's say somehow Phil Mickelson finds a way to rekindle the match.
No way.
No way. You're cutting that off right there.
He could finish seventh, and lose out the automatic spot by like a half point. And there's no way he's on that team.
Kurt Kitayama. Now, why is Kurt Kitayama catching so many strays in this conversation? He's getting picked 100%.
Well, he's currently 12th. Excuse me. Kurt Kitayama is currently 11th, the Arnold Palmer Invitational winner. Obviously, a very good player. Could have actually had a handful of victories over the past year. Like, he very well qualify on his own. That very much is to be seen. But he is the player who has like inserted himself in the Ryder Cup conversation for the U.S. team, who would be inexperienced, who would be heading across the pond for the very first time, playing this format for the very first time. Like, that would be a little bit of a risk. I think regardless, he would be buried on that U.S. lineup sheet for Italy. So I just think it's a very interesting dilemma that he is going to have. I can't wait to see it unfold over the next couple months. I'm sure there'll be plenty of podcast material later this summer. Rex, it is time. We've been teasing it. I had the banner going this entire time. We are going to draft. The NFL draft is on Thursday.
Mock 1.0.
We're very excited about this because I typically whip you in these things. We're going to draft our players. As I mentioned at the top of this podcast. This is over 5
years. Who's going to pay attention and decide who won this?
Oh, no one. This is just the thought. This is just the thought exercise. But we're not going to draft who's going to have the best 2023. This isn't the best player for the next year. We're going to do who would you want to draft right now for the next 5 years? Who will have the best window in the next 5 years? You have to take into account a lot of things, right? Age, current form, projecting form, major championship venues in the future, whatever the case may be. I will give you the first pick. We're going to make about 20 picks here. We're going to try and keep this brief, and then we're going to go in the top prospect. But I will give you...
I did not want the first pick, actually.
I will give you the number one pick in the draft. You can say whoever it is you like. Who is your pick? For the first round... Oh, excuse me. Let me cue it up.
Give me the imaging. Yes, please.
Here it is. The pick is in.
The pick is in. Rex Hoggard with the first pick in the mock draft goes with Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler, who is not the world number one. And I bounced between, obviously, he and Jon Rahm for this first pick. And I didn't know which one I would go with. I guess I would lean only in Scotty's direction because he is younger. And as I kind of went down my list, I figured out the average age of the top 10 players in the world ranking is 29. Scotty is 26 years old. And if I had to choose, and this is, man, we're splitting hairs. John, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. Please don't get at me. I apologize in advance. But if you're going to split hairs between these two players,
the PGA Championship,
he's going to find me and not be happy. If you're going to split hairs between these two players, the only two advantages I could find for Scotty: one, he's 2 years younger, which is not much, but still it's younger. And two, I have since the very beginning and continue to have concerns that Jon Rahm and his health, because he is a large man. I'm not saying you're overweight. I'm not saying you're fat. Like, please don't do that to me. However, he is large. I think his weight is something he's going to have to focus on. So with the first pick, I went with Scotty Scheffler.
You're saying that Jon Rahm's a big man is the reason for your health concerns. Scotty Scheffler is the one who dealt with some pretty serious back injuries throughout junior golf and college golf. That's something
No,
to
absolutely.
monitor as well. Look, I had Scotty Scheffler number 2 on my list. It's not like this was necessarily a reach for the first pick in the NFL draft. Obviously, you've talked to talent evaluators, your scouts, your entire leadership team.
That's right.
With Rex Hoggard was incredibly happy with that selection. For me, I'm not going to give away the rest of my big board. I have John Rahm, Rex, at the top of my big board. He's the guy circled all along. I'm absolutely making him the number 2 pick in this draft. I think he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. I really do. I think he'll potentially supplant Rory McIlroy as the best European player of his generation. Dude does everything well. He's played well in every single major championship. I actually think, here's a hot take, I actually think John Rahm is going to eventually win the career Grand Slam. He is that well-rounded. He is that motivated. He is that fiery. He kind of, unlike the other players who we're going to be drafting here, like he's already settled in his life. He's married. He has young kids now. Like he's gotten that phase behind him, so to speak, and he's figuring out how to adjust that and still play what right now is the best golf of his career. So John Rahm, I'm very happy that he fell to me at number 2. If you Rex, if you go into our war room, you'd see like guys like high-fiving each other and hugging because John Rahm fell to us. We are
the franchise player
about that.
Very good. You didn't even have to trade up to get him. That's very good. Good for you. Right.
What do you got?
First, imaging, please.
I can't. I got my hands tied.
So no imaging. Okay, very good. Guess we'll just move on with this. And let's keep these tight moving forward because your long-winded response for John Rahm is going to take us 8 hours to do this.
These are the top picks.
There it is. Thank you. With the second pick, and again, this is another one that I sat and wrestled with for the last 24 hours.
Third overall.
Third overall, my second pick, Patrick Cantlay. And the reason is he's so efficient with every part of his game. When you break him down.
Cue to the crowd shots.
Yes. Patrick Cantlay is probably the one I like the best. And here's why, and I'll make this quick. I did this column a few years ago. I was trying to find out whatever the magic number is for golf. This was sort of based on the whole Moneyball concept. And the one thing that everyone started coming back to, that what's the most important stat for success on the PGA Tour, and it's driving. I mean, not only do you have to hit it long, but you got to find fairways, whatever the case may be. He's number 2 in strokes gained off the tee. And if you look at his game, there's no weaknesses. Patrick Cantlay, he was number 18 on my big board. Patrick Cantlay, number 18, the back injury that he has been dealing with that still requires significant pre and post-round treatment. That is a little bit of a warning sign for me as we're looking, not just this year, not just 2024, but through 2028 in this 5-year window. The reason why we're doing this, folks, just to peel back the curtain, a rookie contract in the NFL is typically 4 years. And so that's why we're looking for the next 5 years. For me, next up is Xander Schauffele, 29 years old, consistent winner on the PGA Tour. I think he's only getting better. He was my pick to win Player of the Year in 2023. Of course, he has not yet won, but he is a perennial factor in all of the major championships. He is way too talented to not pick off a couple here in the next 5-year window. He is so complete, and he just has a perfect comportment, I think, for competitive golf. He's a guy who was overlooked in his high school class with JT, Spieth, Ollie Schneider, Jans, Patrick Rogers. He's very much come into his own. I think he's a world-class player, and I'm very happy to have him with the 4th overall pick in our draft. That was good. Yeah, I was on the fence between Pat and Xander at that pick because I feel like they're both the same. Xander's a little bit younger, but yeah, imaging, please.
Oh. Who you got?
No imaging? All right, we're not doing it again. Very good. This is there it is. Is the computer buffering every time? Is that what's taking so long?
Yeah, I have to keep loading it.
I'm a little surprised actually that he fell this far. Rory McIlroy is my next pick, and the only drawback with Rory, of course, this is a 5-year plan, as you pointed out. These are rookie contracts, and at the end of this contract, Rory would be 38 years old. So it didn't. I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. However, I'm not picking him because I think he's going to win the career Grand Slam, because as we've talked about, that seems like it's getting further and further away as he gets further down. But he's still going to win. He's going to win a lot. He's probably going to win more major championships. And I just feel like at this stage in his career,
he hasn't won one in almost a decade.
That's true. And again, as that gets further away, it's hard to imagine. I can't let him slip any further than that. So Rory was my pick.
I agree. He turns 34, I believe, in a couple of weeks' time. So he's still very much in the athletic prime of his career. He was actually next on my big board. I had him in 4th overall. So yeah, who I was going to select next as well. This is where I think it gets interesting in terms of the draft. If you're looking over the next 5 years, at this point, you have to look at a guy who obviously has an established resume, but you're also projecting a little bit. And for me, that guy who I'm going to be taking 6 overall here is Sam Burns. I like the fact his age, he's 26 years old. He's a 5-time winner on the PGA Tour. He just won the match play just a couple of weeks ago. But this is a guy who has championship pedigree, a former number 1 ranked junior player in the country, a great college player as well, shared player of the year honors in college. Like, he has the background and the pedigree to suggest that he is going to be a mainstay at or near the top of the world rankings for the foreseeable future. Big hitter, good on and around the greens as well. So I'd like Sam Burns with the 6 overall pick.
I like that pick, although we should pan to the crowd that you have not chosen Jordan Spieth yet. That's got to be the upset of the night so far. Somehow he traded down not to get Jordan Spieth. That doesn't make any sense. Imaging, please.
This is the last time. I have other things to do. Do you see this banner that's being constantly up to? Like, I'm killing them.
I told you that was going to be a lot of work. I told you that, you're taking on a lot, but by all means, keep it up. Shoffley. Yep, you spelled it right. Good for you. I'm with you. I'm going to go younger with this pick simply because you're looking forward. We're trying to project ahead. Sam Burns was on my big board, but I had actually Cameron Young ahead of him. 2 things. One thing, again, this goes back to just he's really, really good off the tee. 11th strokes gained off the tee. The other stat that kind of stands out that, talking with the people who know much more about this than I do, birdie average is something that everyone sort of looks at and says, you can clean up the other parts of your game. But if a guy makes a ton of birdies, we can figure out the rest of it. Like, just make a lot of birdies. Cam Young is 3rd on tour in birdie average. Now, I don't want him at the microphone. I don't want him to be the face of the franchise, but I like him as a young player.
I also think the addition of Paul Tesori in recent weeks will pay dividends. Obviously had a great partnership with Vijay Singh, with Webb Simpson, kind of elevated him to new heights. Cameron Young is arguably the most physically gifted player that Paul Tesori has worked with. And if he can just access Cameron Young's inner genius, I do think that is a great pick as well. I had him coming up. I'm very tempted to take Jordan Spieth here. The only reason why I'm not,
there it
is Colin Morikawa. 26 years old, already a 2-time major champion. Yes, I know you have questions about his short game and his putting. However, you cannot teach ball striking genius. And Colin Morikawa is one of the best ball strikers, best iron players the game has ever seen. That will continue to give him myriad opportunities to win events on the PGA Tour and to win major championships. So he is so solid, and he is so great with the most important clubs in his bag that I like Colin Morikawa with the 8th overall pick.
I like that. No more imaging. Are we done with imaging?
We're done with that.
All right. This one is kind of tough. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to circle back around. I like going young. I think the entire team is based on what we're going to look like 5 years from now. So to go with that theme, Tom Kim is who I'm going to go with the next pick. I mean, we all know what he did last year at the President's Cup, and I had my doubts more than anyone. And I think let's call that President's Cup the Combine, because I was really impressed by what Tom Kim did there.
Are you saying it doesn't matter? Are you calling it an exhibition? Are you I mean, it's just whoever looks the best in shorts, which is essentially what the NFL Combine is.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, they I like who's best in shorts, and that would be Tom Kim. No, I just think he showed, well, just not me. I think he showed everyone that there's a fire inside him. There are plenty. I mean, both our lists are just littered with top players who have tons and tons of potential. Breaking through that potential and finding a way to maximize it, that's the hard part. And he was able to do that under probably the most pressure of his young, very, very young career. But he was able to do it when you had an entire team watching you. And that's probably the hardest thing to do. And so I just love the idea that he was able to piece it together long before. I mean, look, I love Adam Scott, but he's never been able to be sort of that star under that spotlight. So you got to give Tom Kim credit for what he did.
You almost call him Tom Crean, as we're keeping with the college theme. As someone who is currently working on a Tom Kim feature, I've been impressed. The guy turned pro at 15. He's been a winner at every level. The only questions that you would have moving forward, how does he deal with stardom, which is currently upon him now? He has not had the best 2023 as he's dealing with his new normal. He is not the longest hitter by any stretch of the imagination, and you also have to wonder about burnout. He's been a pro for almost 6 years now, despite his young age. You just wonder if he can maintain the sort of youthful exuberance that has so far defined his early career. He fell to me. I have no choice. I am contractually obligated to take Jordan Spieth. He turns 30 later this year. That is amazing. I've been covering this kid since he was like 14 years old. So now he's turning 30 is crazy. He's another guy who is settled, who is actually improving his ball striking, getting back to where he was back in 2017. Does the scar tissue on and around the greens, does that begin to compile? Probably, but this is still a 5-year window. He'll still be 35 by the time his rookie deal expires as it relates to this draft. He still has so many more great Spieth moments left in him that I'm happy to round out the top 10 with one Jordan Spieth, the golden child who is no longer a child, but still golden.
I feel like we wasted so much time talking about Tiger Woods in the Ryder Cup. We should have just gotten to the draft because this is what we both wanted to do.
This is the good stuff.
Yeah, let's be honest. That's interesting because I was right on the fence about where and when I wanted to take JT. And I was almost like I was going to match you toe for toe on that one because I feel like this is almost a wash, right? You pick Jordan, I pick JT, simply for the reasons you just pointed out. Like at the end of his contract, he is going to be a little on the older side. However, the upside at this point in the draft, as my 6th pick in the draft, I really like JT.
He was next on my big board as well. Those guys have been inextricably linked, right, for the past 2 decades. No reason why they shouldn't be in this draft as well. Here we're going. We're talking upside. I don't think there's a bigger upside over the next 5 years than Will Zalatoris. He's currently recovering from that microdiscectomy.
He did that
for several months. However,
he's out for the year with back surgery. You're drafting a guy in your top 10?
He should be back later this fall. It is not a huge concern. If anything, it should alleviate some of the issues that he's been dealing with over the past 2 years. He was my breakout star heading into this year. Tell me how it's
not a huge concern.
Is it a concern in the short term? Yes. Long term, I think this actually helps him to go under the knife and get that area addressed in his lower back. Yes, I think letting that linger and going under the knife and actually having the surgical procedure, I think actually helps him as opposed to trying to manage it for the next couple of years.
Sure. And give me the list of how many 20-somethings who had a microdiscectomy that went on to be world beaters. Just to do the comparison.
I don't have that list. However, Tiger Woods has proved, special talents can overcome even a couple.
So you're comparing Will Zalatoris to Tiger Woods now.
Will Zalatoris right now. Well, I shouldn't say right now since he's currently recovering from back surgery. Will Zalatoris is a better iron player than Tiger Woods right now. Yes. And was a better iron player than Tiger.
Right now, it's hard to
Tiger Woods was when Tiger Woods won in 2019. Tiger Woods won in 2019 following a microdiscectomy at the Masters. And Will Zalatoris is a better iron player now. Not right now, because of course he's recovering, but in 2022 he was a better iron player than Tiger Woods was in 2019.
I love Will. It was one of the.
I think his upside is enormous.
That's too many alarm bells. Like his win last year.
He's going at 12. He's going at 12.
That's just a bad sign. And I want nothing but the best for him because he is an exciting player. His win in Memphis was probably the most enjoyable event I covered last year, simply because you could see the emotion of what it meant to him. Not just winning, but the way he did with making the clutch putts, and that was always sort of the thing that we pointed at. But this is
he could almost have 3 major
so many alarm bells, man.
He can almost have 3 major championships at this. I'm not taking him 4th overall. I'm taking him at
instead. He's got a major surgery under his belt already. So I don't know which one of those things at 26 years old I'm comfortable with.
Look, this is a 5-year window. I like the upside. I have great first round. I have great picks in the top 10 that can carry me for the rest of 2023. Of course, you forgot Jon Rahm, who's the presumptive favorite for Player of the Year. I like Jon Rahm this year.
You're
I like
taking
Will
a flyer at number 6 with your 6th pick,
12th overall. This is my 12th overall pick.
This is not.
This is
D12.
this
This
is
is
no
your
different.
sixth pick.
This is no different than the Lions last year taking like Jameson Williams, who was coming off a torn ACL in the national championship game. Not a great example. He missed almost entire his rookie year. And now he's out for the first 6
You're not helping your argument.
because obviously
Anyway,
you cannot
moving
gamble on NFL games. A very talented player hurt his knee. He will be back and he will be great. And the Lions, I'm sure, will be happy to have him once he gets back on the field. Who you got 13th overall?
I kept pushing this guy down, and I can't believe he's available at my 7th pick. But Tony Finau, he simply he probably hasn't lived up to the potential that he would want. Like, forget about what we think he's going to do, but you look at what he does well statistically across the board. There's no reason to think that he can't break through. And I imagine him being sort of that David Duval type player that once he sort of gets on one of those runs, and we saw it last year, where once he gets winning, he just keeps winning. And I just think it's a matter of time before that happens in the major championships, the biggest events, going back to number 4 and birdie average. The dude knows how to go out and score. And the one stat that sort of, as I was sort of looking through this, strokes gained world ranking, which I don't 100% understand, but it was a way to sort of break it down in a little bit shorter window in my mind, instead of using this 2-year rolling window. He's 6th. And I just think he's such a good pick at this point. I think he's a great pick.
If you watch the Netflix documentary, though, aren't you worried that his family is going to potentially cost him victories?
No,
that was
I think his family gives him strength.
Yeah, that was an absolutely outrageous story. I'd never heard that before. Before we got into that show, I do like Tony Finau. I wish nothing but the best for him. I a little bit uncertain where I want to go here. I have a player who's next to my big board, and now I'm having second thoughts, and so I'm going to pivot to Matt Fitzpatrick, the reigning U.S. Open champion, recent winner at the RBC Heritage. Look, he's not the longest player. He doesn't do, I would say, anything like exceedingly well. And yet I like his tenacity. I like his tidiness. I like his work ethic. He plays well on a variety of different golf courses, whether it's kind of a claustrophobic layout like Harbortown or wide open spaces of Augusta National. I think Matt Fitzpatrick at this point in the draft, number 14, he's still just 28 years old, is a very good pick. I don't think he's done winning major championships either.
Well, and I love the way he reinvented himself. You don't see that in golf very often, where you just realize that, okay, here is what I'm really, really bad at, or this is where I'm insufficient when compared to the rest of the competitors that I go up against. And the fact that he was able to transform himself and not just become a decent driver, but to become a very, very, very good player off the tee. That he was on my board. That one I feel like you stole from me. So good for you on that one. It's back?
I had extra time.
Back. Wow, look at you. This one I didn't pivot on. I had him on my list, and I'm actually surprised that you let him go this far. I guess there are some concerns. Victor Hovland, I like the upside on this one. And his short game is still a huge concern for me. But watching him at the Masters earlier this month, I think both of you and I both sat and watched some of those shots that he hit in and around those greens, which it isn't the easiest place to sort of put yourself in an awkward position and try to get up and down. And he showed me something there. So I like Victor at specifically at this spot because he's young, and I just think there's so much potential there.
Yeah, I have him in my next range here. Obviously, the upside is enormous. A world-class ball striker. The only thing that scares me is like the only 2 times in his career, which is obviously still young at this point, the only 2 times he's had an opportunity to win a major championship, he really flamed out. So I think 74 on the final day at St. Andrews on a day when everyone was getting it, including Cameron Young, and then did not play well when he was in 3rd place heading into the final round at Augusta National earlier this month. So that is a little bit worrisome, but you're right. He's 25 years old. He'll still be very much in this great window for him to succeed. Another guy who is 25 years old, who I'm going to take in this spot, Rex, is Sungjae Im, an absolute ball striking machine, does everything well. If you listen to Keith Mitchell last week, they were partners at the Zurich Classic. He predicted that Sungjae Im is going to be a future Hall of Fame player. If that's going to be the case, he needs to start racking up wins at a higher rate that he has done. Just 2 PGA Tour titles to his name right now, but he has played well at Augusta National over his career. I'm actually surprised he's not played better in the major championships today, but I do like Sungjae Im over the next 5 years to continue to produce and to be an absolute ATM on the PGA Tour. So that's what I'm taking with this pick.
These are where it gets interesting, or at least in my mind, these last 2 picks, because you can go one of 2 ways. I've been trying to trend a little bit on the young side and trying to look into
project
as
you should. It's a young man's game.
It is a young man's game. There's some veterans that I'd like to take a look at, like Jason Day. Thank you very much. A little late on that, but still the imaging is coming. I know you got your hands full right now. You got a lot of things going on. Jason Day was someone that, if you look at the way he
Jason
played
Day,
this year,
you have
I'm not picking
concerns
Jason
about
Day.
Will Zalatoris.
No. I'm not picking Jason Day. I'm just trying to explain where the thought process went in here. I love the way he's playing right now. I love the potential he has right now. 5 years from now, I'm not quite sure injury-wise. Maybe. And you look at his family. I mean, there's a lot of things. We just had this stupid conversation about Tony Finau. Certainly, Jason Day's family factored into where he's going to be 5 years from now for all the right reasons. Like, Jason Day wants to be a dad. He wants to be home. I understand that. So I'm going to continue on my track, and I'm going to go with Sahith Theegala for a lot of different reasons. Probably, if you look at again, we're looking at upside now. You're looking at best athlete, regardless of position, I guess would be the comparison here, right? Like if you've got the 8th pick in the first round, are you trying to fill a specific hole? Or are you trying to go after the best athlete? In this case, I'm going after the best athlete because I feel like he has that look about him. So Sahith.
I like Sahith. I had him at the end of my picks here. So you are squeezing him in before I was eventually going to nab him with the 20th and final pick in our draft. This is an interesting one to me. There are obviously some warning signs, and I don't feel good about where he's going to be in 5 years, but I still like the production that he's capable of in the next 2 to 3. And so if you're drafting at this point, I like the production that I can get in the next 2 or 3 years. And for me, that guy is Cameron Smith. He's coming off the best year of his career, reigning players champion in 2022, the reigning open champion golfer of the year in 2022. Yes, he just got a boatload of guaranteed money. Yes, he has interest outside of golf. No, I don't think that it's going to be a necessarily long and fruitful career. Like, I don't see him playing competitive golf into his 40s. I think he'll be more than happy to just fish and be on his boat all day. However, he is still an exceptional golfer who's not had the best start to 2023, granted, but he is still an exceptional golfer, one of the best on and around the greens, if he can stay motivated. There was obviously talking to my scouts, talking to my talent innovators, talking to the general manager. There was definitely some concerns that we had in terms of motivation for the duration of this rookie deal. But I do like Cameron Smith at this point. I still think the next 2 to 3 years could be very good.
I have 2 names at the top of my list that I've filtered out. Max Homa would be one at 32 years old. And look, it's impressive to see what Max
over the hill. You're saying for
no, he just didn't fit into the theme of my team, which I'm going to continue to trend young with my last pick. Theme.
Let's ask the Carolina Panthers. What's the theme that you're going for this year? Or are you just going to kind of grab like the best player available?
Sorry, I got that wrong. The process of what I want my team
ethos.
To be.
You want the ethos of this team?
It's going to be the process. I think I've heard that somewhere else before. The process. And the second name on that list is Cam Smith. And the only thing I have written, I wish I could turn my screen around and show this.
Warning
the
sign.
The only thing I have written next to his name is, do we really believe ... That's the only thing I felt comfortable writing. Because again, it goes to, I said it earlier in the podcast, I've said it 1,000 times. Cam Smith is still a top 5 player in the world. He certainly is a top 5 talent in the world. I don't care what the world rankings say. If you look at what he was able to do in a very, very condensed window with his career, it's amazing. I mean, last year should have been just a benchmark of, he's going to be a very special athlete. I couldn't bring myself to drafting him because I don't know how much he's actually going to play on the PGA Tour or LIV Golf for that matter. I can't draft a player.
We know he's contractually obligated to play 14.
Well, yeah, but of those 14,
he's in the majors.
Those aren't going to help
5
you.
Years. He's in the majors for the next 5 years.
But of those 14, none of those are going to help you as your team. So essentially, you've drafted a player that's only going to play in 4 of your 18 games next season. And he's going to play in another league for the other 14, which gives you nothing. You get nothing out of it.
Didn't think of that. We could do this by earnings. We could do this by earnings. I like Cameron.
No, we're not changing the game now because you messed up and decided to go with the name. He went with the box score.
He had a win on LIV.
That's fine. He can have a win on LIV. Actually, I think he won the Australian PGA last year. Did he not? That doesn't count either towards your totals.
Is one LIV win Like, is that half of a PGA Tour win? Is that how we're going to rank them? Like,
It's
a
none
win's
of a
win's a
PGA Tour
win.
I'm not judging here at all.
If LIV gets world ranking points, we're gonna have to revisit this draft, because if LIV gets world ranking points, it's gonna be measured somehow. Yeah.
Yes. And look, because we've glossed over Brooks Koepka, we glossed over Dustin Johnson for these exact reasons. Like, Brooks Koepka was in contention until
I would not take for the next 5 years. No.
I think DJ, when his contract's up, is probably done playing golf, if I had to guess. Brooks, however, shows a unique motivation that wasn't there before he went to LIV. So I could have seen either one of those. But again, what you're doing is you're saying you drafted someone that can only play in 1/4 of your games. As a GM, I don't know if that's a great idea. They don't count.
PGA Tour loyals, Rex Hoggard. You just hate to see it.
Sure. Yes, this is
Rex Hoggard GC. This is the prime example of Golf Channel ignoring LIV.
No, if they get world ranking points, you and I can sit down and I'll be like, yeah, man, like, you got it. Good for you. Deal? Like, I'll make that deal right now. If they get world ranking points, have at it.
It's basically going to count it's actually going to count like the Bermuda Championship. It's not going to be much. It's not going to be much.
And you still have one more pick left. Are you eyeballing Brooks with your last pick?
I have the 20th overall pick. This is up to you at number 19. Your last pick. How are you going to round up your team? What did you call it? Your youth process. Movement? Yep.
No, process.
Sure.
Stick with the process. It is young. I want my team to be young. That way, 5 years from now, they're all reaching their peak, which seems to be, again, I'll go back to that 29 year range for top 10 players in the world. And he's a rookie on the PGA Tour, and he has been impressive. Taylor Montgomery, which I know is probably going to be a shock to you. I love the way he's a version of Dustin Johnson with the way he carries himself.
Mel Kiper's yelling, reach.
Maybe, but I have the 19th pick, so I feel like I'm pretty comfortable here. And I wanted to go young with someone, and I just feel so comfortable with Taylor Montgomery, having met him a couple of times and got to know his story. This dude made his chops playing big money games in Vegas. And I asked him point blank, did you have big money to lose? And he did not. And I love sort of that mentality. He makes a ton of birdies. He hits it long. Again, I compare him to Dustin Johnson with sort of the way he carries himself, the way he hits the ball. So with my last pick, Taylor Montgomery.
That is an incredible reach. I can't believe we've reached this point of the draft. Godspeed to you and the rest of the fellow Rex Hoggards.
Why do you get the last imaging?
And with the final pick of this year's Golf Channel draft of golfers, you kind of glossed over him and like, I'd never take him. Complete red flag. It's Max Homa. He's still 32 years old. Like, he is playing the best golf of his career. He's up to number 7 in the world ranking. Like, I still want to see him do it in a major championship. I think he and everyone else was very disappointed by the way that he played at Augusta National. Like, you have to put him on the top 5 list of favorites at the U.S. Open this year at LACC, where he holds the course record that he shot back in his amateur days. Like, the dude's really good. He's kind of reaching the point in his career where a decade ago, right? Like, this is the prime of your career. Early 30s, life settled. You know exactly who you are. You know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and you can just kind of hammer those home and play the best golf. Obviously, the game has skewed younger, and Max Homa is on the older end of that, but he's still going to play on Ryder Cup teams. He's still going to play on President's Cup teams. He's still going to win, I think, a boatload more PGA Tour events. Can he do it in the majors is the big question. I'm a believer in Max Homa, and I think with the 20th overall pick, I think it's an absolute shocker to me that he was even still available at this point.
What in his body of work makes you believe that he's going to figure out how to get it done in the majors? Because he hasn't yet. He doesn't have a top 10. As a matter of fact, his best finish is a T40 ever. So
that's
what in his body of work leads you to?
That's not true. He had a top 20 finish last year at the PGA Championship. I think the upward trajectory of his game leads me to believe that it will eventually translate to major championships. And look, we may get to the end of 2023 and he hasn't done anything. And I think he'd be obviously the most disappointed of all of us, but I think he'd be one of the year's biggest disappointments.
Upward trajectory at 32 years old. So at the end of the contract, he's 37. You're still going to be paying him at 37 years old. This sounds like a Darryl Strawberry contract, by the way.
I'm 36. I promise you, people still view me as young. That may be ancient in golf years, but it's not like tennis.
As a golf writer, not
where
not
I mean,
as a golfer.
it feels like in tennis, if you're older than 28, like you've fallen off the cliff. Like Phil Mickelson's 52 years old. He just nearly won the Masters. Like, it is still possible. 37 is not that old. And I still believe that Max Homa is capable of great golf. And in fact, I still think he's improving. It's not like he's
You'd
plateaued.
rather have Max Homa
like
at 37 than Taylor Montgomery at I think it's going to be 28.
There's no way it would be 28.
29 maybe.
Yes.
Which is the average age of the top 10.
I would still rather have Max Homa because he has now proven that he can be among the very best players in the world. That is still an open question as it comes to Taylor Montgomery. That was great fun. We have the scroll going on the bottom.
We're not done. Let's go.
The rest of the Jeff. Oh, I forgot. Yes.
What's the matter with you? Come on. I spent a lot of time and effort. This is the hard part.
I was going to say, we will rifle this. I sent you the World Amateur Golf Rankings in case
Didn't even look at it.
Confused.
Didn't even look at it, by the way. That was such a like a balloon you just set up here. Just pick the top 10 names. Like, I might as well just auto draft if I'm going to do it off that list. Come on, let's go.
All right. Top prospect. I will give you the first
I get the first pick.
I know it's hard for you. Yeah.
It is kind of hard for me, and this is a twofold deal because what you don't know is I went out to the SEC tournament last week at Sea Island when I was up there for my son's birthday and spent some time talking with coaches and agents and equipment reps, and actually had an idea of who to watch and who to not. So my hands are not quite as tied as you thought. The first pick is going to be interesting. However, I love the Texas Tech kid, Ludwig Aberg.
Ludwig Aberg, sure.
Sure. I love him. You know what bothers me about him? He doesn't win enough. In his career, he's won 4 times in college. That's not enough for me. Sorry. So based on my people, again, at SECs, Caleb Surratt, who won SECs by about $1 million, he won't be there for his senior year, from what I'm being told. He's a special talent, unique talent. He's a freshman right now, so I'm going to have to wait a year or two probably, but he's got the total game.
I like that. I like Caleb Surratt. I think that is a very good pick. I had him number 3 on my big board. Everything freshman at Tennessee, who is an absolute stud. He's proven himself on the PGA Tour. Shot a couple of low rounds earlier this year, and obviously he's dominating at the college level as well. Since you somehow overlooked Ludwig Aberg because he does not win enough, I will gladly take him with my number 2 pick. It actually, Rex, here's a hot take. It would not actually surprise me if Ludwig Aberg is on the 2023 European Ryder Cup team. I think when he turns
this year's Ryder Cup team,
this one, the one that's being played in like 5 months.
Oh,
he will turn pro. He will turn pro in a month's time. I think he could go out there and rip off a win or two.
Do you think Luke Donald knows who Ludwig Aberg is?
If he's doing his job, he should know who Ludwig Aberg is. Yes.
Okay.
It would not surprise me if Ludwig Aberg is on that European Ryder Cup team. It's unlikely, but he has the talent. He has the pedigree that he could rip off a win or two once college is behind him and he can focus wholeheartedly on his pro game. I like Ludwig Aberg. Thrilled to get him at number 2. An absolute star at the next level.
Oh, no doubt. And I was just sort of lost in who to pick first because he was certainly on my list. He would have been next. He would have been my second pick. So it's not completely. The only thing again that turned me off to him is that he's only got 4 wins in college, which I already.
You know who also didn't win a bunch in college?
A lot of players. You're right. Like that.
Kyle Morikawa. Kyle Morikawa is now a 2-time major champion.
And this goes back to trying to pick the first player in our previous draft, where, of established players. The difference between Scotty Scheffler right now and Jon Rahm is minute. Certainly look at the world ranking and look at the fractions of points. Can I have the imaging, please? I'll wait.
You're lucky I didn't close the window.
Very good. With the third pick in, what are we calling this draft?
Golf Channel Prospect Draft.
Oh, God, I like that. Mock prospect draft 1.0. I am going to go with Gordon Sargent. And I felt like at Augusta there was some hype.
Incredibly pleased.
I felt like at Augusta there was some hype. Maybe it was deserved, maybe it wasn't. I mean, when you're playing a practice round with a Rory McIlroy and you drive it by Rory by 30 yards, yes, people are going to notice, and that's going to get some headlines. That to me in and of itself doesn't really necessarily prove that he's going to be special at that next level, but he certainly turned some heads there. I guess what impressed me the most is how, again, walking up and down the range last week at SECs, he sort of has the golf ball coming off his club face sounds different, and he makes people turn and watch. And there aren't many people in the history of the game who have done that. Tiger Woods would certainly be atop that list. He hits it a mile, and I think he's going to figure out that this is the important part here. He's got to figure out the off-speed stuff. Like, he's going to have a lot of wedges on the PGA Tour because he hits it so far. But the trick is being able to take advantage of that. And it took Dustin Johnson probably 2, 3, 4 years as a professional. He had to work very, very hard with Butch Harmon to figure out sort of that off-speed stuff. I think Gordon Sargent can do that. And if he does, he could be a very, very special player.
Yeah, first freshman to win the NCAA individual championship in about 15 years. It's incredibly hard to do. And so for him to do that is certainly shows just how talented he is. You're right. Like, he cruises at like 190 ball speed. He actually reminds me, he's like a more technically sound Matthew Wolff, who burst onto the scene about 4 or 5 years ago. Obviously, Gordon Sargent has more technically sound golf swing than Matthew Wolff does, but kind of the hype, the power. You're right. It's developing the touch around the greens. It's the finesse shots that he's going to have to improve, and I have little doubt that he will do so. For my final pick, apparently you're going to be getting 3 picks to my 2 in this prospect draft.
Oh, I thought we were doing 5. All right, no, never mind. I'm good with that.
No, we'll keep this simple pick since we're already at an hour.
I'm ready to do 5. Let's go.
For my 4th overall pick, I will go Michael Thorbjornsen, the 21-year-old junior at Stanford. Finished 4th, Rex, at the Travelers Championship a couple of years ago. Also was in the mix through 36 holes, I believe, in Dubai earlier this year. Like, the kid's proven it. He's been great in amateur golf, Western Amateur, the U.S. Amateur. He is performed in PGA Tour events, European Tour events. He's qualified for 2 U.S. Opens. Like, the guy obviously has the goods. He's proven that so far. He's another guy who once you put the rigorous academics that he's had at Stanford, like, once you put that to the side, once that's behind you, and you can focus headlong and dive headlong into professional golf, he's a guy who's going to be a very special player, a future U.S. Ryder Cupper for sure, potentially a future major champion as well. And so I'm very happy. This is going to take me a minute. Michael Thorbjornsen. See if I can spell that right.
You want me to help you out?
Lower third here. Nope, I got it.
Okay. I'm a little disappointed because I did quite a bit of research for this one because, as you pointed out, this is not my area of expertise any longer. So I did reach out to quite a few friends of mine who are in the business. Jolly at Cleveland Golf. Thank you so much. Like Nick Dunlap, Alabama freshman, for example. I was excited about drafting him. I can keep going down the list.
This is a very heavy list for you. Like, you got the guy covers one college tournament in 15 years, and all of a sudden he's spouting.
Oh,
Nick
this
Dunlap.
isn't mine. This is I went to people. Let's don't be David Ford, the North Carolina sophomore. Yeah. He's a lefty. He reminds everybody of a better version of Brian Harmon. I can keep going on and on.
A better version of Brian Harmon. I was going to say like a better version of Mike. I was going to say a better version of Mike Weir.
Do you find Brian Harmon's swing? I again don't want to anger Brian Harmon, but do you find his swing aesthetically pleasing?
Who's Brian Harmon?
Brian Harmon, yeah.
I think every lefty has a good swing. Every lefty except Jay Coffin has a good swing.
Ouch! That seemed like an unnecessary shot. What do you got on the grill this weekend, Lav?
Hold on. So your pick was David. Who was your pick? Who's your 5th pick?
Wait. Oh, and was I really doing 5? I mean, I was just kind of going to Preston Summerhays. I've actually watched him play quite a bit of golf. Arizona State sophomore. His dad, obviously, is Boyd. We love him. We know what he means to the game.
Sister Grace is a stud as well.
And Preston is fulfilling that promise. Like, it's hard when the expectations are on you, when you have a last name like Summerhays and you go to Arizona State, it's hard to live up to those expectations, and he's doing it. So that would be my 5th pick.
I like that pick. Some players we did not mention: Ben James, former number 1 junior ranked player, freshman at Virginia; Austin Greaser, former U.S. Amateur finalist, is going to be getting Korn Ferry Tour status at the end of this year. Fred Biondi. We didn't even mention Rex, the dude who blew up at the Masters. Sam Bennett, currently number 4 in the PGA Tour University rankings, prolific winner in college golf. Great backstory, as you well know. I think the best player. So obviously, look, the prospects that we have coming out on the men's side are utterly ridiculous. Like, the game is very much in a great place moving forward. The best player we didn't even mention is going to be on the women's side. It's Rose Zhang. She has won literally everything at the junior level, at the amateur level, at the college level. Rose Zhang, when she decides to turn pro, and all indications are that should be after her sophomore season at Stanford. Like, we could be looking at like the next Lydia Ko. She is
before the ANWA. You called it,
phenomenal.
did you not? You said she was going to win. She'd won everything else.
That was not a stretch to say the number one ranked player in the world was going to win the Augusta National Women's Amateur. The fact that she was able to do it, though, shows just how special she is. She is like an absolute, not just a world beater, but like she's a smiling assassin. Like, she'll kill you and have a smile on her face. Like, she could not be a more charming individual. I can't wait to see what she does in her pro career. Rex, here at the outdoor kitchen, which is behind me, I am in my backyard. We
Very
had
nice.
quite
Blackstone on the right there, just behind you.
That is the Blackstone. Got the Yoder over here, Yeti, other grills lined up here. We had a crawfish boil. I hinted at it on last week's podcast. We were going to do a crawfish boil. I did not wuss out. Actually threw down the $240 it was to get a sack of crawfish imported from Louisiana. I wanted like a 30-pound sack, ended up getting a 41-pound sack. And so I bought this Loco Cookers 30-quart rig, ended up doing like 3 or 4 batches of crawfish. It wasn't overly difficult to do. It was just a lot of prep work, and it was like a lot of scheduling. Like, you'd throw ingredients in, you'd set a timer, then you'd throw others. Like, it's a consistent temperature, right? Like, you just have it at a rolling boil. It was just, it was a lot of steps. It was a lot of fun. The food was fantastic. It was not too spicy, but it did certainly have a kick to it. We had 10, 12 people over that greatly enjoyed it. That was a great time. Can't wait to do some sort of seafood boil. Obviously, crawfish season is very short, but you can do the same thing. Crab legs, shrimp, whatever the case may be.
My invitation got lost. That's cool. Don't worry about it.
It's all right. I invited Crookie and said he also no-showed. What did you have on the grill? And then please enlighten us with a bunkmate's trip to the ER.
I'll start with bunkmate's trip to the ER. We had a senior, my youngest is a senior in high school. We had an awards banquet last night, and when we were walking out, it was raining. I went to go get the car, as a good gentleman should. I look up, and she's walking from the overhang where she was hiding from the rain to the car, turned away. When I turned back, she was on the ground surrounded by people. She had slipped and fallen, and we were in the emergency room till 1 a.m. last night. Bunkmate has a broken right shoulder, so she won't be doing any pitching anytime soon, but it's in a sling. I think we have to go to see it.
Orthopedist doing any pitching.
But she seems in good spirits this morning. So that's what we had going on. And I will say this, as I pointed out, I was at Sea Island last weekend. It was my middle son's birthday, and he wanted to play golf. And so we got to play some cool places. We got to play Frederico, which he loves, and it's one of my favorite spots on the planet. But the other thing you wanted to do, oh yeah, love me some Frederico. Where is it? There it is. The Fred. How about that? Southern Soul. We made a trip into Southern Soul, and the owners were there and kind of walked us through the new. They have kind of a new smokehouse, and I was actually in there. Everyone got so mad at me because it was my wife, the bunkmate, it was my son and my son's girlfriend, and I was in there for like an hour because he sort of walked me through the burnt-in process. I think I'm going to try it this weekend. I was taking notes.
So you have to buy a brisket.
Yeah,
you can't just make burn ends like you. It's
no, I know.
So you're gonna buy a brisket. You're gonna do a brisket.
We're gonna try.
We'll see. When is it? And when is this going down?
This weekend, hopefully. Well, it'd have to be Saturday because you and I are leaving on
Sunday.
That's right. What time's the flight?
Some sort of mid-afternoon flight. I am glad that you mentioned our trip. It's going to be a very special podcast next week.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very special edition of the Golf Channel podcast with Rex and Lav. Rex and I were both invited to attend USGA Media Days next week. We actually thought that this was like a prank. Like we did not think this was a real invitation. But on Monday, we have been invited to play Los Angeles Country Club, one of the most exclusive courses in the country, and host of the upcoming Men's U.S. Open. The next day, we are playing Pebble Beach, which is the host site for the first time of the Women's U.S. Open. Which course are you most looking forward to? But more importantly, how was your game?
The game's actually not terrible. I need to go to the range a couple times this week, see if I can work out the driver, which had been moving along very nicely and doesn't seem to be heading in that direction any longer, but I feel confident we can figure it out. I have played Pebble And, this is not to say the Pebble's not special. Never played LACC. So by far, I'm looking forward to, because by all accounts, people who know the game, who I trust their opinions, they say that, look, it's more than just a private club. It's a very, very good golf course.
I cannot wait to play either. I've never played them before. I am working through a little bit of a swing change, trying to get my right elbow tucked closer to my side. Thank you, Ricky, for that helpful hint while keeping my head back and keeping it there. I tend to lunge at it using all 170 pounds of force to hit the ball like 275. It's just really pathetic. It is a very, very tough scene when I'm going after it full bore. So I'm definitely gonna have to go to the range, figure that out. You are gonna be bringing me.
You glossed over one of the more important parts of the trip, by the way.
The PJ.
The PJ. That's right. Monday night after we finish up at LACC, we get on the PJ and go to Monterey for Pebble Beach the next day. You can't gloss over that. And then I get on a red eye to go to Wells Fargo to work. But yes.
And I get on a red eye to go see a screaming 1.5-year-old and a 4-year-old who's been nothing but hellacious at his recent T-ball games. It should be a great podcast next week. I need to somehow figure out how to do a podcast on the move. Hopefully we can record it on the shuttle ride trip from Pebble Beach to the airport for our red eyes. I think that would be a lot of fun to recap our golf there, as well as check in on the world of golf from the past week. Liv's got another tournament in Singapore, the Mexico Open, where Jon Rahm is like an astounding favorite. That's how he's like plus 240 to win. That probably has not been seen since Tiger Wood days. 15 years ago.
25% chance of winning. I mean, he's got a better chance of winning than the rest of the field.
That is insane. Yeah, it is a very weak field. Jon Rahm would not be playing this tournament. I can't imagine if he were not the defending champion. He will not be in the field, however, next week for the Wells Fargo Championship. That is the one mandatory skip that he is allowed to play.
There's going to be quite a few players. Events. Like Wells Fargo seemed to be the target when I talked to players in the Bahamas about this. And again, this has nothing to do with the Wells Fargo as a tournament. It's just a tough spot on the schedule for a guy like a Jordan Spieth or the Dallas guys, for example.
Scotty.
I mean, they want to play Colonial. They want to play Nelson, and then you throw the PGA Championship. They're trying to avoid sort of that fatigue.
And Memorial after that. Yeah. There's a lot of golf, especially for those Texas guys, just the way the schedule is formatted. It will be very interesting, Rex. Rory McIlroy, I would imagine, is going to speak to the media before that tournament, and I'm sure he would be asked why he is the lone player so far to skip 2 mandatory events. All right, that's going to do it for this incredibly robust edition of the Golf Channel podcast with Rex and Lav. This is a new record high. This was even a longer podcast than when Tiger won the Masters in 2019. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to do the draft. I'm sure you guys can find that on YouTube if you missed it, or golfchannel.com. Next week, we'll be back with a recap of our trip as well as the world of golf. It should be a good one. Can't wait to bring it to you. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Jolly.